My name is Jasmine, and I'm going to talk today about semantic rules and how they can be misunderstood or broken. So, I'm going to talk about this time in my life when I first moved to Maryland. So, I'm originally from Massachusetts, and the slang is definitely very different. So, also, if you don't know what semantic rules are, it is kind of like putting a specific meaning on a certain word. And like everyone knows that meaning of the word no matter what, or everyone assumes that they know the meaning of the word. So like people will say that bikes are for riding. Or, like dogs bark. Bark means the dog noise the dog makes. So there's always something that we always associate with certain words. But sometimes we'll put different meanings to the same words, and that's how things can get mixed up. So that's what happened when I moved to Maryland. So I met this guy, Chris, and he was my first friend when I moved there. My first guy friend, I'll say. And so we would hang out a lot, and we would, talk to each other at lunch and sit together and everything like that. So one day I was at the park, just by myself, and one of his friends had come up to me and he asked me if me and Chris were talking. And all y'all out there who know the slang for talking, I guess, would probably think that that means dating. I did not think that. I thought it meant, do you and Chris have conversations? And I said, yeah, we talk all the time. I just talked to him 2 minutes ago. So that situation then turned into everyone thinking that me and Chris were dating. And then I didn't find out till like a week later. And I was like, no, we just are talking. We talk every day, every other day. And so my meaning of talking was to have a conversation with someone. And their definition of talking was to be dating that person. So that whole miscommunication or, semantic rule that was broken kind of made everyone confused in my little circle of whether or not Jasmine was dating Chris. So one way that I guess could have been avoided is if I asked for clarification. But then also another thing is if someone were to ask like, "Oh, y'all talking? Are you all talking?" And I say, "Well, what do you mean?" And they say, y'all talk, If they don't ever, explain exactly, or if you think that you're answering the question correctly and you're not, unless I were to say maybe, oh, talking is in like having conversations, then maybe the other person would have understood that I didn't necessarily know his meaning for the word. But also, it's a little kind of confusing. Because there's different ways that some things I could have said if I had thought that talking meant something different, but just the way that the question was said, I didn't think that it was a term to kind of be misconstrued. So the only thing could have been to kind of have a full conversation with the person. And if they were to ask, are y'all talking? And I said, yeah, I just talked to him yesterday. I don't know, I don't know if that means something different here. I guess if I knew what semantic rules were in the first place, then I would have been able to clarify differently when that situation came across. Because at first I just had moved to Maryland. I figured everyone spoke the same or had the same kind of language, I guess. If anything, I would have an accent from being in Massachusetts. And it just never occurred to me that words could have different meanings. So that's one thing. If you ever feel like what you're saying doesn't make sense to people, especially if you're in a new place, a new area, always just clarify. Always just make sure that the words that they're saying mean what you think. That's another thing. If this was a full conversation where I asked what they meant, and they asked, well, what do you think it means? And we were both clear on what we were giving out, the situation could have been avoided. And I could have avoided making my friendship with Chris a lot more confusing. That's all for today. Follow those semantic rules.